Hello, student. Welcome back to your history class. I am Mrs. Jenny Shah, and we are learning Chapter 9, the Industrial Revolution. Up till now, we learned the sources of our knowledge, why Britain. We also learned about the town, trade, and finance. There's a very nice poet pickup in your textbook, and this can be used as a value based question. So today's class, I'm just going to read it out to you. The man of wealth and pride takes up a space that many poor supplied. Space for his lake, his park's extended bounds. Space for his horses, equipage, and hounds. The robe that wraps his limbs in silken sloth has robbed the neighboring fields of half their growth. I think this is by Oliver Goldsmith, The Deserted Village. It was written in 1728 to 74, somewhere in the middle. But I think it very beautifully tells you the harsh truth of the Industrial Revolution and how it came. So today I want you all to jot down the reasons the development in Britain and other parts of the world in 18th century and how did it encourage British industrialization. This would be your homework for the day. And today we start understanding the changes in the coal. We will understand the transformation of the coal and iron industry. England was fortunate in that coal and iron ore, which were the staple materials for mechanization, and these were plentifully available, as well as other minerals like lead, copper, and tin that were used in the industry. Until the 18th century, there was a scarcity of the usable iron. Iron has to be drawn out from the ore as pure liquid metal by a process called smelting. For centuries, was burnt, charcoal, that is burnt timber, was used for the smelting process. This had several problems. So what happened is up till the until the 18th century, that is before 18th century, usable iron was very less because iron has a process. Iron has to be drawn out from the ore in a liquid, as a pure liquid metal in a liquid form, and this can only be done by a process called smelting. For years, people used to use charcoal for smelting, and this created lots of problems. Number one, charcoal was too fragile to transport across long distances. Its impurities produced poor quality iron. It was also short in supply because forests had been destroyed for timber and it could not generate high temperatures. So, because of all this, charcoal used to be used for burning, and charcoal was a very fragile thing. And if you would transfer it over long distances, it could get spoiled. And if charcoal was impure, then the iron that we would get out of the iron ore would also be poor. So it was short in supply also because forests were already being destroyed for timber, and charcoal could not generate a very high temperature. So solution to this problem came. You can see this, that the forests are being destroyed for industrialization. So the solution to this problem was found for years. Okay, the solution to this problem had been sought for years before it was solved by a family of iron masters, the Darbys of Shoposphere. In the course of half a century, three generations of this family, grandfather, father, and son, all three of them were called Abraham Darby. They brought about a revolution in the metallurgical industry. And this began with an invention in 1709 by the first Abraham Darby. This is the Darby family. And what did they do is the first Abraham Darby, he invented a blast furnace that would use coke, which could generate high temperatures. Coke was derived from coal by removing the sulfur and impurities. This invention meant that the furnaces will no longer be dependent on charcoal. The melted iron that emerged from these furnaces permitted finer and larger castings than before. Now, this is a picture. This is a painting. Okay. So, because of this invention, now furnaces did not need to depend on charcoal, and the melted iron that came out of these furnaces, they were finer and larger. They permitted, or they could be finer and larger casted than before. This process was further refined by more inventions, that is, the second Darby. The second Darby developed a wrought iron from pig iron. Henry Cort. Okay, so what did he do is he developed wrought iron from pig iron. Now, Henry Cort, he designed the puddling furnace. Puddling furnace is a furnace in which molten iron could be rid of impurities. Henry Cort designed the puddling furnace and the rolling mill, which used steam power to roll purified iron into bars. So now it became possible to produce a broad range. It became possible to produce a broad range of iron products because the durability of iron made it a better material than wood for everyday items and for machinery. Unlike wood, which could burn or splinter, the physical and chemical properties of iron could be controlled. So now what happened is the second Darby, he again refined the process and he developed wrought iron and pig iron. And Henry Cort, he designed a puddling furnace and a rolling mill. The rolling mill used to use steam power to roll purified iron into bars. And now, since we could make iron into bars, we could produce larger range of products because now iron had durability. In 1770s, John Wilkinson made the first iron chair, vats for the breweries and distilleries, and iron pipes of all sizes. So what did John Wilkinson do? He's made the first iron chair and iron pipes of all sizes. and he used cast iron for the first time to make a water pipe. Now comes the third derby. Remember, the first derby, he made the furnace. The second one, differentiated or derived, developed pig iron from, developed wrought iron from pig iron. And now comes the third derby. The third derby built the first iron bridge in the world in Coalbrookdale, spanning the river Severn. Wilkinson used cast iron for the first time to make water pipes. He made 40 miles of water pipes to supply water in Paris. This Wilkinson, he used cast iron to make water pipes. And third Derby used iron to make a bridge which spanned across an entire river. This is Coalbrooksdale. This is the bridge, the cast iron bridge near Coxbrookdale. There's a painting by William Williams in 1780. And later on, the area around it grew into a village which was called the Iron Bridge. I think it's beautiful. Thinking this was made in the 18th century, I think that's beautiful architecture, designing. Fantastic. It's so sturdy till date. This is, children, this is the blast furnace. So now the iron industry came to be concentrated in specific regions as integrated units of coal mining and iron smelting. So coal mining and iron smelting became individual units of industrialization. Britain was lucky in possessing excellent coking coal and high grade iron ore in the same basins or even the same seams. These basins were also close to the ports. So it was very lucky that they had, the best quality cooking coal and also good iron ore, and they were very close to each other. In fact, they were also very close to the ports. There were 5 coastal coal fields which could deliver their products almost straight into ships. Since the coal fields were near the coast, shipbuilding increased, as did the shipping trade. Because they were very close to the coast, automatically ship industries picked up as well as the trade industry. So the British iron industry quadrupled its output between 1800 and 1830, and its product was the cheapest in Europe. In 1820, a ton of pig iron needed 8 tons of coal to make it. But in 1850, we could produce the same thing with using only 2 tons. By 1848, Britain was smelting more iron than the rest of the world put together. So, do you now realize how much industrial revolution must have happened? Britain alone produced more than the rest of the world. That must have been outstanding. That must have been lots of work. Okay, so with this, I'm ending this part of this chapter. Next class, we start with the cotton spinning and the weaving industries. I want you all to start taking down notes while you all are studying all the interesting facts that you come across, especially the dates. Please write them down. With this, I end today's class. Children, stay home, stay safe, take care, keep learning. Thank you.